Welcome back to another BOOKMAS video. Today the scenery is a little different. You guys are joining me in my kitchen tonight because we are going to be baking some cookies. We're gonna do some holiday baking and then probably read a little bit, do a little bit of a bookish craft. I don't know where the night will take us, but it sounded like something like that. I want to make some M&M cookies, so I'm gonna kind of take you guys along with me during this process. It's just gonna be a little bit of a cozy night in, so hope you guys enjoy. Now, I wanna make M&M cookies specifically because I have like 3 to 4 different white elephant like parties and events this upcoming Christmas, and I feel like for one of the gifts I want to add some like fresh homemade home-baked cookies. I think that would be really cute. It wouldn't just be that, it'd be like something plus cookies, because like I would want that, right? I always like buy things that I would want. I'm going to kind of troubleshoot and trial some cookies right now. And the ones that I want to make are M&M ones that I found on TikTok. It's a TikTok recipe. So I'm going to follow that and we're just going to see how it goes. It's like 5:50 p.m. So hopefully it's not too late by the time they're like fully cooked and done and all made. So first things first, I have to gather some of my ingredients. I did take out the butter and the eggs already like an hour ago. So those have been sitting, hoping to bring them down to room temp, because the recipe does call for like a mixer and I do have that. I have a KitchenAid, but that I feel like I don't want to use. Like I just want to do it myself. So that's why I brought the ingredients down to room temp, or tried to, because usually it's a lot easier to mix that way. But we're gonna see if it works. I mean, that's what today is for. If it doesn't, next time I will use the mixer, but we're just gonna troubleshoot and see how the cookies come out. So let's grab some ingredients first. I just took a quick picture of the ingredients that I'm gonna need. Caster sugar, which I looked up, is like a thinner version of granulated sugar, but again, I don't have that. I didn't want to buy that, so we're just gonna use regular sugar, see how it turns out. Let's gather our ingredients. So down over here in this like top cabinet is where I have all of my baking stuff. So that's where I'm gonna get my flour, my sugar, baking powder, baking soda. Is where I'm gonna kind of combine all my ingredients. I have like a million mixing bowls because some of them are really small, perfect for like the smaller ingredients, and then we'll probably use the big one for the big kind of mix of everything. Let's measure out our ingredients. Always use a food scale. Biggest tip, I like to also measure out ingredients in grams because that's kind of more universal and the scale helps a lot. Last time I made cookies, I used like cups of flour and I feel like that messed me up because that's not like a super accurate measurement. I wish I had the grams amount because then it would be a lot easier to have like a standard certain amount. So today we do have grams in our recipe, luckily. So I'm just gonna grab all my ingredients, measure them out, and then get ready to mix it all together. We measured out all of our ingredients and I actually did end up getting out the old hand mixer, literally old. This looks like early 2000s and I'm pretty sure this is like grandfathered in, but I realized I don't really feel like messing up the cookies tonight. Like I want them to come out decent. We're gonna put in the extra effort with the electric hand mixer. And then for the M&Ms, I just have these leftover Halloween candy, peanut, and regular M&Ms. The actual recipe has some like Christmas ones that are green and red. And if I like this recipe and move forward with putting it as part of my white elephant gift, then I will buy those Christmas M&Ms. But for now, we're using what we have. Now that all my ingredients are mixed out, I think I'm just gonna mix everything together, roll out my balls of dough, and then eventually we're just going to chill them in the fridge for about 30 minutes, and that's when I'm gonna kind of probably read or do some cozy craft. I'm also listening to Christmas music, but obviously you guys can't hear that or it'll get copyrighted, but it's definitely a cozy Christmas December night. I'm not gonna preheat the oven until I throw my cookie dough balls in the fridge because again, they're gonna have to be in there for like 30 minutes. So it's the perfect amount of time for my oven to, what's it called? Pre-bake? Preheat. I promise I do this semi-often. hit a bit of a snag. My cookie dough looks like this, which is basically it looking extremely dry and really crumbly. I think what happened was the butter was supposed to be like melted, and my butter wasn't melted. As you guys saw, it was in a stick form. In my defense, the recipe did not specify, so I'm more mad at the recipe for not specifying. Like, you couldn't have said melted butter. So now I've been throwing my dough in the microwave for increments to try to melt the butter that's in here. But I think I'm gonna just leave it at this, add my M&Ms, chocolate chips, and then we'll just see what happens. But I'm gonna go ahead and toss in the M&Ms now. So M&Ms are kind of big too because they're the freaking peanut butter ones. I guess this is why we did this. This is why we have a trial run, to see what the heck else can go wrong, because this is not looking correct. All right, so we're just going to add all of these M&Ms in. I'm not measuring them, I'm just tossing them in because why not? I used the mixer, the hand mixer and everything, and still messed up. Probably would have been better if I like didn't use the hand mixer. All right, let's see what it says to do now. I'm not gonna lie, that took me a lot longer than I thought it would, and it definitely humbled me, but we got some form of a cookie on this baking sheet. So we're gonna throw it in the fridge for about 30 minutes. I ended up adding water to my dough because it was just too dry. It was like crumbling apart. 2 of these are without the milk, so we'll kind of see how those bake. The rest I added milk because they literally were impossible to shape. So we're gonna toss these in the fridge for about 30 minutes and then come back, bake them, and then we'll just see what happens. All right, so I actually ended up putting the cookies in the freezer. They don't go in the fridge, they go in the freezer. I don't know what's going on, but the good news is the more that I make cookies, the more that I practice, the better I'll become, and that's the goal. So now I know to measure my flour and any ingredients in grams because I messed that up the first time, and now this time, melt your butter before you put it in the dough. Anyway, that's why we do trial runs. So dough is still chilling in the freezer, and I want to do a cool little cozy bookish craft with you guys, but first I kind of want to talk a little bit about my winter TBR. I'll be honest, it's not super extensive. This year I really just want to focus on my like monthly TBRs that I do every single month, and then anything and everything on that TBR cart. There is going to be a little bit of a TBR cart unhauling soon. I just don't know like exactly when. Sorry, the ugly tripod's in the back and it's bothering me. I literally hit it. So as I was saying, I don't think I'm gonna do like a whole extensive winter TBR. There are a couple of books that are like on my radar. One of them is like super at the top of my TBR, and I did just start it today, and it is on my December TBR, so it's like perfect, and that is The Winners by Frederick Bachman. I knew in January of this year when I read the second book in this series that I was going to read this one in December. Like, I just knew it. So that's what's happening. I actually started it earlier today via audiobook because I have Spotify Premium, and I think I've listened to all of this little trilogy via audiobook, so I figured why not continue the tradition, we'll say, even though I do have it physically. I guess we can kind of see how far I'm into it. I think I got to like 11%, which is like pretty good for one day. Chapter 16, so oh, it's like right about here. Here we go. Page 86, so almost 100 pages in, and it is a lengthier book. I also have this really cute Christmas ornament. It's a bookmark from Paris. Actually, I got it last year when I was in Paris. I bought a Little Women copy at a little like independent bookstore, and I saw this bookmark there, so I grabbed it, and it's perfect for my winter reads. So about 100 pages into this one, and I'll probably continue listening to this right now as I start on my little bookish Christmas craft. And I will say, I think I'm gonna end up ordering this entire series because I would love to have a physical version. I've read all of these from my library or via audiobook, so I don't own them, but I did just add them to my Christmas list because I actually really do like this series. Frederick Bachman and I have a really weird like relationship because I'm not the biggest fan of his books except for this series. I actually really love this series, and I would want people to read it. So I wouldn't mind like letting my friends borrow it to read it, and that means I have to own it. So that is definitely going on my Christmas list, and hopefully I get them and I can own them, and I'll already have them read so they won't sit on the TBR cart. But other than that, there are a couple other books that are on my radar for winter. One of them is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. I think I've been talking about this book since it came out in June, and all of fall I definitely wanted to read it. That's not looking like it's going to happen, so I'm gonna add this to the winter TBR and just really keep it at the top of my list to read, because I really do want to dive into this like vampire LGBTQ plus fantasy romance. I don't know, it sounds really intriguing. It's V.E. Schwab. I really liked The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I loved V.E. Schwab's like writing and her language, the way she details things. So this is at the top of my winter TBR. And then I also have The Secret History by Donna Tartt at the top of my TBR. This one is a bit intimidating because the font is kind of small and it's not super long, but I've heard it's like pretty slow paced. And I've also heard that this is more of like a modern classic. So that's just a little scary, but I'm gonna try to prioritize this for like January and or February. And then I think there was one more that I screenshotted that I was like, maybe. Oh, there's two other ones. The Crash by Frida McFadden. I have it on my 25 books to read in 2025 list. And I think I've gotten mostly all of them besides like this one and two others maybe. And so obviously I would love to complete that. I just don't think it's gonna be possible just because I had this book actually a couple months ago from the library. I was just holding on to it and I didn't end up reading it. So I don't know, I don't think I like want to force myself to read it, especially just to like finish a little challenge that I had for myself. Like it's not gonna change anything. It looks incredibly wintry, so obviously like that's the vibe. But I don't know, like it doesn't have the best ratings. Frida McFadden has just been pushing out so many books this year and it's kind of like turning me off because I'm like, how is that possible? How is that like it's not. Isn't she a neurosurgeon or a brain surgeon too? So I'm like, how does she have the time? She doesn't. So these books probably aren't good. I don't know. So I was thinking about this one, but I think I'm mostly convincing myself to not read it. The last book that I was thinking about potentially reading this winter is These Silent Woods. It's a thriller mystery, I believe, that I've just seen on my radar, people recommending it on Goodreads for a couple of years now. Sorry, I got distracted by like a siren outside, but this one looks pretty wintry. All right, better. So that's one that I would consider reading, but I think for sure, if anything, the winners, which I'm already currently reading, The Secret History and Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, are the books at the top of my winter TBR. That kind of brings me to the topic of, I'm going to talk about my reading goals for next year in a different video, but I am definitely going to be focusing more on the physical TBR, and that means a massive unhaul because some of the books on there have just sat for years, and it sucks because I remember buying them and being so excited to read them, but if they've sat there for years, then like, what's the point? You know, like there is no point. That's not a good point. So that's just kind of something I wanted to mention. And now the craft that I'm thinking of doing or starting tonight is this Merry Christmas diamond painting. I got this from Hobby Lobby like last month or in October or something, and I've just been holding on to it for the perfect time, and I think that time is today. It's a framed diamond painting, which I think is so cute. Now, I have never done a diamond painting, so I don't really know what to expect. Worst comes to worst, I don't like it. It was only $5. We don't finish it. I do have another craft up my sleeve, and I know you're probably thinking, oh, what about your reading journal? Isn't that a good craft to do? Well, I'm actually, yeah, that's true. It is an incredible craft that I should be doing. I'm actually incredibly behind. I have it open right here, right in front of me, and it's actually on like September. I have my September, my last like little spread. I have to do the books that I read in September. I did do an October cover, and then that's it. So I have to do all of my October reads, my November reads, set up my December. So I think this might be in a different video later this month. We'll just kind of see, but obviously I do want to finish that before the year's over. It's just this very time consuming, and obviously I haven't really paid much attention to it the last few months, so I fell behind quite a bit. But that is something that I will be doing, just not in this video. The other craft that I was thinking of doing is right here. And it is a puzzle. It says European Winter Market Pink Sky, 1,000-piece puzzle. I think I got this for my engagement party, which was in October, from one of my friends, and I love puzzles. I'm really into them right now. I do not have room for an 1,000-piece puzzle, and I am having like a little Christmas get together in like a couple weeks, so I don't want to start this like out in my living room and then it be out there because I can't transport it. So I do really want to start this. I just have to figure out like the logistics of where it would go, but this is definitely such a cute little cozy Christmas craft that I want to partake in sometime this month. But I think for now, we're gonna start on this, see what the process is like, check on the cookies, listen to my audiobook, and that's the plan for the next couple of minutes, the next hour or so. Alright, y'all, I didn't complete my diamond painting in all entirety because it's like a lot, but the cookies are out of the oven and unfortunately they don't look very good. I think the butter that was not right definitely made them come out a little weird. I mean, I'm gonna still try them or eat them because they have all the ingredients. They should still taste decent, I'm assuming, but the shape is off. And I did ask ChatGPT and it did say because of the butter, the fat didn't melt, so the cookies don't look right. And this trial was a fail, but hopefully when I do make them for my white elephant, they come out a lot better since I already know 2 things that I could potentially mess up. Now I'm just gonna watch, what's the show called? Dairy? Welcome to Dairy on Max because we are all caught up and I think we have to watch last Friday's episode. So we're gonna try to enjoy these cookies while watching that. So unfortunately, the cookies are a big, horrific mistake. They don't taste sweet at all. They don't smell very good either. Like if I sniff them up close, they smell like flour. They're just like these little clumpy, hard balls. So next time, hopefully, they'll be better. I finished my episode of the dairy show that I was watching just now, and I wanted to show you guys how far along I did on this. You can't really tell, but I did like this whole top corner. But that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you in the next one tomorrow. Bye.